Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? This is Stephen Michael from the Grown Up Rock Podcast. When I'm not texting insults back and forth with the two idiots known as Tom and Zeus, and I need a little something to pick me up, I turn on and turn up the Shout It Out Loudcast because I can't sleep at night without knowing how Paul Stanley came up with those clever lyrics to Love Gun. Now, crank it up.
I got a new rock group for you, Tottie. This is their latest album, which I'm going to show to camera right here. But before we see them perform, I want you to meet one of the members of this act close up. Here from KISS is Gene Simmons.
And we're back. Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? Tom and Zeus with another episode of Shout It Out Loudcast, episode 79, The Mike Douglas Show.
I'm sorry I'm laughing because this is just going to be a fun one.
It smells like garbage in here.
Well, you know, the stars of the 70s weren't as hygienic.
I feel like we have like the Mike Douglas Show set up here. Right?
Yes.
Sit on a couch, have my helmet hairdo all set up.
We will talk about the Mike Douglas Show and setup very soon because there's a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah. But before we do, how the heck are you?
Great. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. Hope everybody had more luck than Saul at the beginning of our last episode and didn't blow off any fingers or anything. But no, it was great. Good time. Good to get away. And we're back at it right now.
Great. Yeah, 4th of July, always fun. Family time for us. I know you did family time upstate, up in New Hampshire.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, yeah, it was nice. Nice to get back, though, to reality. No holidays for quite some time. Just right back at the daily grind. And when we do that, we do a KISS podcast, Tom, if you're aware of that. So what do we talk about on this KISS podcast?
We talk about KISS, properties of KISS.
Okay.
So it's sort of social, demented and sad, but social.
Exactly. So what's going on in KISS world?
KISS world? Nothing really. I mean, there's no news on the U.S. leg of the tour. But what's interesting is, so we have tickets for the Labor Day show, Labor Day weekend show. I think it's September 4th at the place in Mansfield, Mass. So I went on that website, like their calendar of events. Literally every show has been canceled and rescheduled except for the KISS show. So I don't know what KISS is waiting for. I mean, that U.S. leg starts in about 5-6 weeks, and there's been no official word yet. So, I mean, it's going to be postponed. We know that, but no news on the tour. But we did have some big news regarding your favorite member of the band.
Oh, before you do that, the KISS cruise did sell out.
That's right. Yep.
So that happened. It sold out the last time. They opened it back up because of the postponement. But the KISS cruise for 2021 has sold out again.
Yep.
There is a waiting list. Hopefully you guys get on it. I will be on the cruise, so I hope to see a lot of you maniacs out there. Please let me know if you are going. I will certainly love to meet up and say hello. And maybe I will want to know because I'll want to avoid you. Who knows?
or they might want to avoid you.
Oh, yes. Especially if there's a performance of I Want You on the boat.
Hopefully it's outdoors.
In the middle of the set, Paul just goes, "Oh, wait a minute. What is that gas of wind that just went by?"
Oh, pew.
Yeah.
But what was the other big what was the other big story? What was the other big story we saw yesterday that everybody was going crazy about?
Your eyes were going crazy? What?
My eyes are going crazy.
Yes. The other big story is out of nowhere, surprisingly, here comes Peter Criss. He comes and makes an appearance. Peter Criss, my favorite member of KISS. And what did you think when you saw it?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. All jokes aside, I'm gonna try to not be melodramatic here. I got a little emotional watching it.
Yeah, Tommy.
And I'll tell you why.
Oh, Jesus. It sounds like, you're getting a little overreactive to this.
I love Peter. I know he's your guy. I'm a fan of his solo album. We both are. Admittedly, and not ironically, we legitimately enjoy the solo album for what it is. I like that song, Don't You Let Me Down. But it was just nice to see him. And I think the reason why I was getting kind of emotional watching is I was getting a little nostalgic. And, he looks, like we've said before, like our heroes are getting older. He looks like kind of like an older guy, which he is. But I thought it was fun to see him. I thought the fact that it was completely and totally unexpected, it was just something really nice and enjoyable to see. It just made me happy to see it.
Okay. So I do want to address one asshole who's a friend of ours. So of course he's an asshole. And that's Baco from the Cobras and Fire podcast. We've been on recently.
Go after him.
Look for your episode dropping shortly. He does a segment of Cobras and Fire where he discusses the top 25 albums listed by Rolling Stone for grunge. Obviously, that list sucks because it's Rolling Stone doing a list.
Right.
But you have one coming up when he does Screaming Trees, right?
Correct.
I already did one on the Stone Temple Pilots album, Purple, which you all know is a favorite of mine. So notwithstanding that, and I hope he doesn't take Tommy off the list because I'm going to shit on him right now, but he put on that this was embarrassing. An old man doing karaoke. If it's my dad, okay. But a storied musician, this only cements the idea that he's dumb and clueless when it comes to music. You'll never see Don Henley, Phil Collins, or even Bret Michaels share something this bad. First of all, Phil Collins, Don Henley, and Bret Michaels? Where does Bret Michaels fit into that?
The Bret Michaels thing threw me for a loop because I'm like, okay, Phil Collins, Don Henley, they're both vocalists, they're both drummers. The Bret Michaels thing, what are you doing?
Phil Collins with his Phil Collins and Genesis catalog,
yeah, maybe
a top 10 selling artist of all time.
And a tremendously underrated drummer as well. A
talent.
Correct.
Don Henley and the Eagles are definitely a top 10 sell.
Correct.
Where the fuck does Bret Michaels fit into that?
But I think that was his point. I think he was trying to say that not even someone as horrible as Bret Michaels.
I don't know. I hope that's where he's going. But regardless, this only proves my point and shows why he's so fucking wrong. Peter is retired. What do you do? His fucking farewell concert like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
He's retired. He doesn't do this stuff. His friend puts him on the spot. Obviously, this isn't him doing what Paul tries to do in his home studio or other artists are doing on COVID-19, where they put on their best performance, best stuff, and try to do a live performance. This is him just being like, all right, fine. I'll play a version of this at karaoke and I'll sing over it on a microphone. I might as well be doing it right now on Audacity, singing the song. That's about where he was going. Off the cuff and doing it, I thought he was excellent. Here's a guy that is, gave his fans just something to see him doing. And the smile at the end of the video that he gives, that's the part that I agree with you that I get emotional about. Like he may have his demons. He may be a prick at times. He may be the biggest whining fucking, flipping out like temper tantrum brat there is sometimes. Whatever. He's still our Peter Criss from our band KISS. And to see that smile on his face, like a genuine happiness to this, man who's in the twilight of his age, is heartwarming. That's all I can say is heartwarming.
Yep.
Why the fuck would you take the time to write on my shit that this is embarrassing?
Okay, first of all, it's Baco.
Yeah.
He exists just to jab you, poke you.
Yeah.
Especially you, because he knows you love Peter.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that. I know it was kind of a rhetorical question.
I know. I'm joking.
The point is, though, when you do shit like that, if he put that out and I commented and then he says this is embarrassing, I get it. But Yeah, he is one of those Eddie Trunk type Kiss fans that likes to say, "Oh, I like Kiss, but only the things that people will find to be cool." And I was never into the stupid, silly shit. I was never into this. Like, that shit's beneath him. But he only likes the cool part of Kiss, right? Sorry, Eddie Trunk Part 2.
Oh,
So,
boy.
I'm just saying, he just seems to always kind of deflect this stuff. And his fucking shit list of favorite Kiss songs, that's embarrassing. So I wouldn't want to go down that list. What did he have that you were flipping out about? What do you have, Boomerang in his top 10 or something? Something stupid.
But see, that's what I mean. It's like it's twisting the night. Everybody knows Boomerang is a fucking horrific song. Yeah. Horrific. Gene doesn't have that in his top 10. So no one else has either.
I've got this new classic Kiss song for you, the fan.
Yeah, the fan. No S at the end.
But and I love him. Honestly, I like Baco. He's funny and stuff.
Absolutely.
But I just got to give him shit back. You know, the whole thing of this episode of Peter, how many times have we've done this on this show? We're like, Peter, nothing. No one's heard anything. No one's seen anything.
Yep.
You know, you got funny people be like, Jesus Christ, when he was like in his 20s, he had gray hair. Now he's in his 80s, whatever, and he's got jet black hair again. Like,
and the thing,
but he looked happy and healthy.
He looked great. And the thing that pisses me off is that I found out about this scrolling through Twitter, and of course Stewart was I'm like, God,
he ruined it.
He did. I'm like, I can't retweet something from fucking Stewart. I got to find another source that had this.
You know, he's a very good friend of mine.
Of course he is.
Well, of course he is.
And this comes from the fact that I am so close with Ace and Peter as well, but certainly Ace.
So yeah, it's so wonderful to see Peter, you know, in his element, just having fun with the music. And singing a song that me and you both like. It's not a Kiss album. It's not. We talk about it all the time, but it's something that we both enjoy. And God bless Peter. I'm happy to see him, although he does look like an old Italian grandfather. Moves around like one too. Especially
in that house, that furnished house that looked like the most like Italianly decorated like interior. You know, but God bless him, like you said. And you look at how easy something like that is to do. Is take a video and throw it on Twitter and it's not a big project. And the fact that he did it, like you said, it was just exciting because no one heard from him at all.
He put it out there, warts and all, didn't give a shit, just sang a karaoke version of his song.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Remember when our other topic used to do that? When the pandemic hit? And then also he must have got some criticism because then he started doing Harder Than Hell, where he's kind of like whispering the lyrics because he doesn't want to sing. And he's like just doing the guitar part when he's the singer. I don't know why he's not singing the song. But from that, he's transformed himself into more. So just when you thought you were out, Tom, Pandemic Paul pulls you back in.
Now it looks like a fucking parody account. I said this last week. Now it's just full blown. And anybody who has been paying attention to our recent episodes here, we've introduced a character known as Pandemic Paul, formerly known as Paul Stanley of the band KISS, in case you follow him on Twitter and you might not know that. So after we recorded last week, we talked about the condolences that he issued for Benny Mardona's rest in peace. Well, since then, there's been another Twitter condolences by someone, Nick Cordero. I'm going to pretend I don't know who that is. I don't know if he's
like a Broadway actor.
Okay.
Stuff, yeah.
Rest in peace, Nick Cordero. He passed away from coronavirus. Paul Stanley, did his condolences, whatever. Great. No problem. Wonderful. Then we get the full-blown Pandemic Paul here. The pompous, condescending, smarmy, dickish Paul posts a picture with Emily, who I believe that's his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. First, let me preface this by saying I'm not going to get into the veracity of the whole mask debate. Whether you wear them or not, that is fine. I've said this before. The contents of his tweet in terms of politics or whatever. That's not my issue. Okay. So he posts a picture of him and his daughter wearing masks, saying, "Don't listen to the conspiracy theorists or the graduates of the Internet University of Medicine." Okay. So okay, fine. Wear your mask. First of all, Paul, if you think you know everything about wearing a mask, it proves that you don't, because you're on the fucking beach wearing one. Where the experts have said that a mask is to be used when social distancing isn't necessary in an outdoor place. You're on the fucking beach at sunset, so you look like an idiot doing that. But whatever. Then that wasn't enough. So last night, he posted a picture of a young boy and young girl dressed as nurses and posts to all the junior doctors and experts out there, "Thank you for your COVID insights and advice." What the fuck are you trying to do, Paul? I said this before. I tweeted from my personal account. Insulting your fans, whether you're strongly, that's not the way to do it, okay? And again, everybody has their own opinions on the mask and the severity of the virus and the experts and what they think. Fine. But the pomposity and the increase. If it isn't, I just made it up. Pompousness. I think pomposity is a word. I don't know. Somebody will correct us. But this is what I'm saying. Like, first of all, like, you're posting pictures of little kids dressed as doctors to insult people, and you're saying the Internet University of Medicine and junior doctors and experts. Thank you. Why? What does that do? And I understand that there are Paul Stanley fans, and I understand that there are fans that agree with him. But why do you have to be a dick about it? Whether it's something I agree with or something I disagree with, somebody like Paul Stanley should be doing something a little bit better, kind of like Gene Simmons. He's kind of quiet. He's kind of a little bit, he's not as obvious with his dickishness, if he's even being a dick. I don't think he is. I think he's being kind of funny with some of his comments. But Paul, I don't understand what you're doing here, and it's getting really ridiculous now, and a lot of other people feel the same way.
Yeah, I think it was the picture of him on the bike with his Tiny Tim hairdo that pushed you over the edge. I think he's just annoying the shit out of you no matter what he does. If he comes out, "Peace be unto everybody," you're going to be like, "Fucking pandemic, Paul."
Not true. No, that's not true. But seriously, if anybody didn't see this picture, it looks like it's a boy and a girl. It's almost look like it's a Halloween costume picture.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what? With all due respect, you're making fun of the Internet University of Medicine experts and the junior doctor. Who the fuck are you? With all due respect, who are you, Paul? This is proving that the book you just wrote is horseshit about being the person that you should be and relationships and strength and living your best life and doing, and then you come out here and you just continue to insult people and be a prick about it all.
Remember how he wrote in the book and he was saying, "I'm not telling you what to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you what I do that I think works for me."
Yep.
So why don't you write, if under that theory, I'm wearing a mask so I can protect my family and the ones that I love because I think this is the best thing I can do.
Perfect.
Hopefully you guys can too.
Perfect.
I wear this. I believe that my health, my kids' safety is the most important thing. I'm wearing a mask. Perfect. Paul Stanley's wearing a mask, and Paul Stanley says he does it for his family. Okay. Oh yeah, all you fake wannabe doctors, Internet School of Medicine's, you children. Here's a photo of you. It's just.
And then he writes, "End of story." Oh, okay. The guy who wrote "Bang Bang You" is going to tell me end of story when it comes to them wearing a mask. Okay. Fucking pandemic, Paul, man. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for fucking virus Vinny to make an appearance.
Vinny is a virus. Just stay away from him. God knows what's going to come when he comes.
Hey, at least we're not getting pandemic Peter, or as our friend Jack Pinocchio. We're not getting COVID Chris. Everybody's got a nickname.
COVID Chris.
But anyways, that's my weekly rant on the pandemic Paul, so stay tuned. I'm sure there'll be more.
Yeah. Poor pandemic Paul. We had some polls from last week's episode. How did we do last week?
Yeah, so last week's episode was all about the Spirit of 76 Destroyer Tour. Fun episode, and the poll was, which of these songs that were on that tour would you have liked to have seen played on the End of the Road tour? And choices were King of the Nighttime World, Nothing to Lose, Strutter, and Firehouse. Strutter ran away with it. 40% of the vote. Actually, not run. Actually, I shouldn't say run away. They took 40%. I'm just looking at it again closely. King of the Nighttime World had 36%.
Yeah.
So those two songs took 76% of the votes, and Firehouse and Nothing to Lose got about 12% each.
Love those songs too.
Yeah. So, but I was surprised at how that Firehouse and Nothing to Lose just took a beating. But Strutter and King of the Nighttime World, huge favorites amongst fans. So that was a good one.
Yeah. And the episode itself got a lot of feedback. I think it was, I love the idea of us doing tours. I think hitting this exactly on 4th of July weekend was excellent. We got great feedback on this. So do you want to start? What did we get?
Yeah. So I'll start off with, we got a Facebook Messenger, direct message, on our Shout It Out Loudcast page. This is a good one from our buddy Rick Rarer. He said, "What better way to start a podcast than with Saul blowing his fucking hand off?" That was Zeus and I talked about that. We're like, we have to throw that Jerky Boys clip in here somehow. And then Zeus said, "Why don't we start the episode with it?" So that was awesome. And then we got some good stuff on Twitter. Our buddy Murph said that I need to get the blood pressure checked because pandemic Paul is hazardous to my health. Well, that was last week, so who knows what about this week.
All right, now I'm very angry here.
Then our good friend Sean DeHaan had some really it sounds like he's in the know here because he had some pretty good comments about the episode. He said, speaking of the stage, there are 4 complete show videos from this tour, 2 in color, 2 in black and white. I'd love to see those because I don't think they're on any of the Kissologies or anything. He said the God of Thunder machine can be very clearly heard in the same video. The crystals can be seen in the videos. Some of the most famous Kiss bootlegs came from this tour. Let's see. He said the colored lightning bolts in the clouds can best be seen during Black Diamond on the Anaheim show. The smoking, burning cityscape can be seen in the same video. So pretty cool. Then he also says, great episode, great idea. You guys mentioned that they were still on the rise for this tour. For all intents, the band didn't even really exist until that first album came out in 74. This tour was only 2.5 years from that. That's crazy. Then he ended with this good one. I forgot to mention, epic fail on your part by not having the 4th of July by Keel as your intro music.
Yeah, we're good.
Sean Hammond said, this is exciting. I was 5 years old and I saw the Spirit of 76 poster on my cousin's wall. I had been a Kiss fan since he introduced me to Alive 6 months earlier. I was immersed. Mark Ain't John. I love that name. Love you guys. Another great episode. Another new listener, or at least he's getting involved a little bit more. Josiah Horn says, great episode. I'd love to hear you guys talk about the Revenge tour eventually. It'll happen. That's the tour I wish I could go back in time to see since I wasn't even born. Also, did I hear you say that one of the guys in quarantine played with Luke Bryan? And we got into a conversation. I said, yes, the drummer Kent Sluker plays with Luke Bryan's band. So just good stuff as always, good interaction, good feedback. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that was Twitter.
On Facebook, feedback has been great lately, guys. So in the meantime, please continue it. Keep it up. We love getting it. And for us, it's a huge, plus to discuss a lot of your feedback on their episode. So the great Jack Pinocchio, great insight to the story of the Spirit of 76. Things I never knew. This was my favorite era, look, sound, stage, the whole lot of Kiss. It's raw, fresh, and I think it was their best. Very good set list if I had to make my own. And then he just gives us his set list, which a lot of people do. And that's awesome. We love when you guys do that. Dave Mitchell, the show at the middle school gym was a special contest that the Mars Bars promoted. The winning school had KISS play. It was not part of the standard tour.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. David Cathy, who always seems to chime in that he was at a show. I don't think there's ever been a KISS concert that he's never been to.
I think David Cathy is about 98 years old.
For all the things that he's done. I was at the Nashville show July 21st, 1976. And then David Zanuck. Woo! This is my favorite era. Can't wait for Listen This episode. Woo! With the rocket ships.
I love that.
Scott Donaldson from Down Under. Looking forward to listening tomorrow. I love getting these Facebook stuff. Thank you guys. Much appreciated with the feedback. We also did get that, and it wasn't specifically, Tom, about this episode. It was a tweet that we got late last night that I have to discuss today.
Okay.
And I'm seeing this at like 12 something last night. Uncle Paulie, who we love, he writes, okay, the 1 hour 27 minute to 1 hour 27:40 of this podcast episode, which was the episode where we discussed Ace Frehley trouble walking. This is the greatest 40 seconds in the history of podcasts. I've listened to that portion at least 20 times and even brought a couple of my kids in to listen to it as well. You two are the best. That's the awesome part where we and you were talking about like how lyrics and stuff are just silly with these fucking, bad boys or wild boys or going crazy in the streets or the boys are back in town shit. Daryl did a great retweet of that, and you can see it. He tweeted that too as well, that section of it. It's great stuff. I love when we get stuff about this. So Uncle Paulie, thank you for that text. Late last night, I saw it. I was dying laughing. You made me pull up our own podcast and look at stuff. So we love when you guys do that. And that was great.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah. And we also had one more poll, which is hilarious for the fact that it solved nothing. We were discussing whether we should have our live casts on Sundays or Friday nights. We've had them on both. They seem to not change really the volume of watchers, but we thought maybe one might be better than the other. What was that poll split?
It was exactly 50-50. Literally, not 51-49. And no, we didn't get 2 votes.
Yeah.
It was 50-50. So I guess like Zeus and I said, I guess it doesn't matter when we do it then.
Yeah, so it means that we can do it on either nights. And it wouldn't be a big deal.
Right.
So at least we figured that out.
Yep.
So we got that out of the way. And what else do we usually do when we get excited about something, Tom?
Oh, when we get excited, there's only one place to go. That's your good friends at adamandeve.com, because free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up the bedroom is even better. Select almost any one item for 50% off, and then Adam and Eve loads on the free stuff. Enter offer code Loudcast at checkout and get 10 tantalizing free gifts. A sexy item for him, special gift for her, and a third item you will both enjoy. And don't forget those 6 free spicy movies and free shipping. Promo code Loudcast, adameve.com.
Great job. So, Tom, we wanted to, everybody I think that's in the KISS Army is familiar with the KISS appearance on the Mike Douglas show. And just like we always do, we're like, do you want to make an episode out of it? Can we? It wasn't that long of an appearance. We're like, we can fucking make an episode out of this. There's a lot for us to do.
We can make an episode out of anything. Believe me, we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. So KISS made their appearance. The Mike Douglas show was basically a daytime talk show. The guy was pretty much, I think he was like a lounge singer for a little while, had a straightforward, kind, like very harmless personality, friendly, a nice guy kind of attitude.
Mike Douglas. Oh, Mike Douglas. You know, Mike Douglas used to make me moist when I watched the show. I would admit it, I would get moist when I watched the show. Only white man ever did that to me was Mike Douglas.
and he would do a daytime talk show. He introduced a lot of things. I know that he's famous for having like Tiger Woods on when he was 2 years old, like stuff like that. He had a lot of famous people on. And Mike Douglas show used to be in Cleveland. I think it ended up being in Pennsylvania. It was on for like 20 years, 61 to 81. So we're looking at now, this was in Pennsylvania when they're filming this, April 29, 1974. The debut album is out. So now they're doing some promotional stuff. And, you know, Bill is probably looking for somewhere to put them. You know, the easy place, an easy find would be Mike Douglas. And I can tell you this because I'm a big Elvis fan. Elvis, when he'd come on certain shows, people were sometimes courteous to him. And then other people would see him and like snicker or demean him or try to marginalize or condescend towards him. That could have been, this is Kiss's first TV appearance, correct?
First, like interview or sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yes. So Mike Douglas could have easily been rolling his eyes, condescending, could have been like, what the fuck is this? He was not. He was a straight man. He wasn't a jerk. He treated them respectfully. And for someone that, like I said, being a big Elvis fan, I saw how people would treat him as like something out of this world. Like, where the fuck is this? How, like, this isn't Kiss, by 1975 and people have seen them and now they're out there. This is Kiss not even really have a following and going on TV. And he didn't seem to blink an eye. He was friendly. He was respectful. So I think he was a perfect choice to bring him on. So anything you want to talk about the background, the Mike Douglas show before I break down like how the show began and everything?
Yeah. So no, like you said, so the Mike Douglas show, he was like a Merv Griffin type of guy. Like he was a very like friendly, safe, he wasn't, critical. He genuinely kind of enjoyed having his guests on. It was a safe and friendly place to be. And it was funny because I'm referencing some material from a book that I've been raving about that Zeus needs to get. And not to be confused with Julian Gill, but there is a series out there called the FAQ series. They do it on Black Sabbath, Zeppelin, U2, Pink Floyd, and there's one called KISS FAQ. It's called All That's Left to Know About the Hottest Band in the Land, written by Dale Sherman. It is an amazing book. If you don't have it out there, you have to get it. And there's a section in this book about Kiss TV appearances, and they kind of briefly talk about the Mike Douglas show. So like Zeus said, this kind of show, back in 1972, Mike Douglas had John Lennon and Yoko Ono on, and he had them on for a week as co-hosts.
I remember. Yeah.
And that was something that Mike Douglas would do, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But the Mike Douglas show was a place where musicians and rock stars per se could feel safe, like Zeus said. A lot of those shows, they considered rock stars as people to be, pitied or made fun of rather than showcased. And they didn't really know how to record their performances. So Mike Douglas, like Zeus said, and like we've said, a safe place to start. So with that being said, we can kind of continue like getting into the appearance. So you said it was taped April whatever?
29, 1974.
And it aired May 21st, 1974 was the TV air date. Yep.
Okay. So Gene comes out and, Mike makes the introduction, shows up the debut album. Gene comes out smiling, hamming it up, tongue out. People must have been like, what the fuck is this? But it was like kind of like a giggle, laughter, like, like, what the hell are we going to make of this? Like, is this a joke? Is this, Kiss, the concept of Kiss wasn't like known. So they didn't know if this was a joke, and he takes his makeup off and just wears it like, and so he comes out and on this specific point in the episode, he has the comedian, the old lady there. Tudo? What the fuck is her name?
Tottie
Fields.
Tottie Fields. Yep.
Not to be confused with Tootie from The Facts of Life.
Yeah, Tootie.
So, how do you say her name? Tottie?
Tottie.
Tottie, now I'm saying Tootie Fields, right?
Yep.
He has Robert Klein, the comedian who's young at the time, some sort of TV personality named Ben Hunter. So, Gene comes, they're already sitting down. Gene comes out. They all stand. Tottie sits down. She doesn't stand up. Gene comes over and shakes her hand. And then he shakes the other two gentlemen's hand where I think he didn't know he was about to sit down. And Mike Douglas was like, oh, no. Say hi to these guys too. And Gene shakes their hand. And if you watch, Robert Klein shakes his hand and then looks at the camera, looks away and rolls his eyes like, what the fuck? Buddy, you're making our people look bad. I think it was kind of the same because I don't know if they all were, but I think everybody else there was Jewish as well.
Yep.
So he was rolling his eyes like, what the fuck is this? Anyways, so Gene comes in and he sits down, and kind of in a slouch kind of mood. And I don't know what to make of it. Does Gene look nervous? Maybe. Is Gene look confident? I don't know. But apparently the story was that, hey, he wants to talk to one of you guys, interview before you perform. And they all looked around and Gene says, I'll do it. Of course, Gene's the confidence. He loves being in front of the camera. I couldn't see Paul doing it. So the point that I was trying to make is like, this is the first of the demon. What is he going to portray? This is the first time it's talking. Is he just going to be a demon? Is he going to stay in character? Is he going to break character? The first thing he does is just talk normal and walk over and shake hands with people. Like these old kind of, squares, if you may. And he just goes over and shakes their hands. So he's not really a demon then, right?
Right.
So go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, so Tottie Fields for the week, she was the guest co-host for the week, and Mike Douglas did that a lot. And in the book, it's like, the co-hosts were encouraged to kind of interact with the guests. So it's not like she was cutting off Mike Douglas and kind of taking the spotlight from him. She was encouraged to be interactive, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But like Zeus said, looking in Gene Simmons's book, he has a very, very quick thing about this. He thanks Tottie Fields in his book, and he actually thanks Tottie Fields in his solo album. In the liner notes under thanks, he thanks Tottie Fields. But it's interesting because in Gene's book, there's practically nothing about this appearance. However, in Paul's book, there's a pretty interesting section, and Zeus just kind of talked about it, how, Bill's like, okay, who wants to sit in this chair and do the talking? And Paul's like, not me. I'm staying backstage. So Paul's like, okay, I'll do it. And then
Gene?
of course, I'm sorry, yeah, Gene do it. And then of course, Paul's like, he came off goofy, but being the default spokesman of the band would lead to more times of him using I instead of we. Why would he do that? Those false assumptions were based on Gene's own statement. Once again, I found myself scratching my head, blah, 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 blah. There's a reason it's in Paul's book and not in Gene's book. Gene was probably like, not a big deal. But Paul's like, oh, you look like an asshole and you sounded like an asshole, so I'm going to put it in my book to shit on you more. So Pandemic Paul is back in his book.
I think he wants to stress that point, Tom, to make the narrative begin, because it's a theme in the book that Gene is very I-oriented and Paul was the team player. But he starts with that.
But see, I think the exact opposite. I think whoever was going to go out there was going to be probably embarrassed, whether on purpose or not. Gene was like, I'll take one for the team. I think what Gene did was a team move. Maybe a little bit of self-centered, I'm the demon. But, I think Gene went out there, God knowing, oh, my God, I'm going on a daytime talk show host with comedians. Robert Klein was young and upcoming as a famous comedian. Tottie Fields was a famous comedian. Mike Douglas, Gene's like, holy shit, I'm going to go out here. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
So imagine the first impression people would get if it was Paul. Paul would have, at that point, Paul was shy, bashful, quiet. People would be like, why do you wear makeup then? It wouldn't make sense. Imagine if it was Ace.
Oh, that would have been the best.
Be like, what the fuck is it? Are these people slow? What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
Or if it was fucking Peter, probably slouching, just swearing, yelling at people, getting into a fight.
Yeah, fuck you.
Why are you looking at me? Why are you giving me attitude? What about
that? He would have been like, what about you, you fucking bastard?
Now you're gonna make me dig that up. So anyway, they go to Gene. So then Mike asks for like a close-up of Gene's shoes, remember? And those are, imagine if he had the fucking demon boots at the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like just the high heels. And they're like, take a close look. The funny thing about that is, I know this is stupid. When he asks them to take a close-up of his shoes, the camera pans a little bit. And all of a sudden, behind the other guests, there's this like extra or stagehand that's behind the other two, and he's caught like on the camera, and he just smiles. It's so awkward. It's so stupid, but because we over review these things, these are the things. And what it reminds me of an airplane when that lady is singing the guitar with that sick child, and it's the music, and everybody just looks and then smiles,
and they all go,
and they all smile. And then the best is in the cockpit where fucking Captain Over, and then Kareem smile, and then in the back, the blonde-haired guy pokes his head out and smiles. That's what the guy looks like. He got caught, and he's like, and he just smiles. It's so stupid. I don't know what, but that's just something me and you would fucking pick up on.
Of course.
So then the guy photobombs and stumbles into the shot. I just thought it was funny. Right away, that fucking Tottie starts in on him by saying, and by the way, he's up for adoption, right?
She steals the show by far. Everybody knows for example, in the Kissology DVD, the Mike Douglas clip is only 3 minutes long. There's a 10-minute clip that's on YouTube that you can see.
You do?
And pretty much the Kissology clip is that intro, them showing the boots, and then Tottie Fields with all of her one-liners that we'll get into.
So that reminds me of those golden age of those old-time comics that were quick on their feet, that could do that stuff. And she was like a TV personality that could probably go on like friggin' all those game shows and have the one-liners and stuff. She was excellent. But she starts in on him by saying he's up for adoption. Gene is going along. But then Gene, as soon as he says that, Gene starts wiggling his face and doing that lip thing where it looks like he's doing the blood thing.
Yep.
And what I found interesting is, imagine if in the middle of that, Gene does the blood thing.
Oh, God. It
right
would have been
in the middle of it, all of a sudden blood starts dripping, and then he does and starts spitting up blood everywhere. I think those people would flip out. I think the show would have been canceled, taken off the air. People were like, "What the fuck is this?" That would have been so insane. But he looks like he's doing it when she says that to him about adoption. He wiggles his nose and starts doing his lips tight. Check it out.
And I think it's funny, too, because during this whole thing, from the minute he introduces him until where we are now, poor Mike Douglas looks like speechless, like lost. He's like, what? I don't know what this is. I don't know how to talk to this person. And then he tries to talk to him. And, and then Gene's like, oh, yeah, we're four guys, But, go ahead. We'll get into that. He
goes, what are you? So this is the part that I was saying to you, Tom.
Yeah.
What does Gene start off? The first image of Kiss. Is he going to just be in character like a wrestler would stay in character in the old days, like never leave, like the Undertaker's the Undertaker? But if you saw the Undertaker at the airport, would he be like, rest in peace? Or would he be like, hey, man, that's my luggage over there, right? So Gene, the first question, what are you? Gene doesn't say, I'm a bat, like he says later. He says, just a member of KISS. And who dreamed this up? Gene sighs and then slouches. So I don't know what Paul says. So his first few things that Gene says is just a member, not the leader of KISS.
Yep.
Just a member of KISS. And then Gene slides down in his chair and sighs like he's bored of being there. We all did. He doesn't say I did or
he says we. Absolutely. You're right.
What is he fucking talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I agree.
How many members? There are 4 members, and your audience really looks appetizing. So now he goes from just being general, and then I think he starts thinking, wait a minute, I think I'm supposed to go back into character. And then, Mike Douglas, I don't know if he's playing along or he told them he would do this. He goes, oh, really? The crowd is like nervously laughing at this.
Well,
I don't know if they thought this was ridiculous or what.
Well, it's a daytime TV crowd, and if anybody knows anything about who watches daytime TV or who attends those, it's middle America, moms and stuff. They're your audience looks appetizing, but you're right. But the thing that makes it, and look, we love Gene and we love it, but the thing that makes it looks like cringe, but the kind of cringe that you love is that he just went from, I'm just a member of KISS, just 4 guys in a band. Your audience looks appetizing. It's like, well, it's like you said, something went off in his head. He's like, oh shit, I got to be the demon here.
Yep. And then, are you a bat? And he doesn't say yes. He goes, yes.
And go ahead.
Member of KISS. Yes.
This is Gene Simmons. And I'm a bat. Yeah.
He goes, actually, what I am is evil incarnate. And some of those cheeks and necks really look good. Like,
and then he
settle
does
down. That is a settle down Gene moment.
And then he does the big fucking with the tongue. And
What?
And poor Mike Douglas, I swear to God, I think Mike Douglas may have soiled himself because he was like, oh,
Mike Douglas. Let's go. So we have a name for a person like Mike Douglas, and he looks like, what's the guy from fucking Fox News with the helmet hairdo? Brett Bear? What's his name? With the fucking Lego hairdo? It's like a Mort Kondracky.
He looks like a Lego minifigure.
With the plop down fucking hairdo. Him and fucking, it just looks like the whitest man in America. Right?
He looks like if you were going to make like a 70s sitcom about like a nerdy math teacher. Like, hey, here's Mr. Douglas. Or did your mom marry Mr. Johnson? No, Mr. Douglas.
Mr. Douglas? Yes.
But he's like the nicest kind of, you know what he is? He's just like to use a term from the 70s, he's like a square.
Yeah.
There's like nothing cool about him at all.
Those Mort Kondracky fucking Brett Bear hairdos.
The McNeil Lehrer report.
He's got that Grasso hairdo, Lego hairdo. Are you a bat? Yes, actually, they look very. And the tongue comes out. So that's when the crowd laughs. And Gene sits back, and like Mike Douglas was like stammering at that point. He was like, "What?" Like raising his hand, like, "What the fuck is going on?" And that's when the camera goes on fucking Tootie from fucking Facts of Life again.
Yep.
And that's when her eyes start rolling.
Oh
and
God,
the camera picks up on it. Whoever the director was in the crowd was loving it because they were seeing her roll her eyes.
Yep.
And then that's I mean that's the part that I think is what everyone knows. Mike tries to ask why the costume, but the crowd is still kind of laughing. And then he's just like cuts off because he has to skip the question because the crowd is just laughing at this point. He's like, I can tell he's your type, Tottie. And then Gene says, I really like her bat formation. And he lifts her hands, right?
Lifts up her shirt.
To show her fucking like, I don't know, Mrs. Roper wardrobe she was wearing, right? That fucking, what are those things called? Moomies?
A muumuu?
Yeah, whatever the fuck she was wearing, right? And he was lifting her arms to show that. And she asked, is your mother watching today? And you can kind of hear Gene saying yes. He was about to say something. And then that's when she threw out the famous line.
Is your mother watching today? I hope so.
Yes,
Would it be funny if under this he was just a nice Jewish boy?
You should only know. Where you?
I do. You can't hide the hook.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, wouldn't it be, funny if he was just a nice Jewish boy, and then he's like, and Yeah, and he's like, yeah, wouldn't you like to know or something? And
you
then
should only know. Yeah.
And then comes the fucking knockout punch with the great line that everybody knows. And you could tell she's a comedian.
Oh yeah. And then she says, I do. You can't hide the hook, with her finger pointing. Gene is sitting back and laughing, and you can tell the smoke is going off inside, and the wheels are moving. Like, yep. I just fucking got owned by this old lady. Yep. I just got fucking annihilated.
Yeah. And you wonder too, like, I know Tottie Fields, she's a comedian, that's her job, but you wonder, like, was she like purposely being like a dick to him, or was she trying to be funny? Because she really kind of strips him down in front of the audience. Like, I
think she was being like a funny relative, ethnic relative. And what I mean by ethnic is, like, if you run into your own, like, my Greek aunt would be like, enough of this foolishness.
Exactly.
Like his Jewish old aunt.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Fucking Chaim, cut the shit with this nonsense. Like,
settle
cutting
down.
him down like you're trying to act like all big. Ooh, I'm the demon. Shut the fuck up. Go home and go read your, fucking Talmud and behave yourself. You're being a wise guy.
But that's my point. And that's the funny thing that you think of is, like, he's on the show in costume as a member of KISS. Like, I understand it's a joke. I understand she's a comedian, but, like, I just thought, I don't know. I mean, it's funny and we laugh, but it's funny how she wasn't just like, oh, Gene, so what's why did you choose this? Like, instead, she, like, strips him down and is like, oh yeah, everybody, he's a Jewish kid from New York. Don't worry about this. I was like, I think
I don't think she was doing it to, like, embarrass the band or shit on this band from starting their career.
No, I don't think so either.
Trying to say, like, listen, son, you don't need to fucking pull this shit. I know who you are. Go home to before I tell your mom on you. I think she was being that tough old aunt figure.
Agreed.
But not meaning to be really hurtful.
Right.
There's no way Gene would be thanking her in future stuff if he felt that was anything but, like, all in good fun.
Absolutely. No, you're right. And it is a good point, because Gene, again, acknowledges how she was a trooper and a good sport. And he does put that little line in his book.
But it's absolutely hilarious. And it's funny because that joke goes over. So I have a friend that's a Brazilian guy. His English is okay. It's decent. And he's a big fan of KISS. And we watched that video together a while back, and I'll never forget. He died laughing. Oh, I know. You can tell because of the hook. Oh, my God. Yep. He picked up on that. Like, it translates cultures and ethnicities and everything. Like, that their own people can tell their own people. Yep. Just like an old Italian can be like,
absolutely,
the guy that was doing those Native American commercials in the 70s crying about the litter. It's an old fucking Italian guy.
Exactly. That's right.
Shit like that.
Yep.
Right? So it's just one of those things that I think it was all in good fun. I think that line, to come up with that line right then and there, I think she looked him up and down when he walked in, trying to be this tough guy. I'm a demon. And looked at him like, child, what do you fucking think you're doing?
Exactly. Now, it's funny, too, because I know Robert Klein was young at the time, but I would have liked to have seen, I think like you said at the beginning, I think Robert Klein was probably like, the fuck am I doing here? Like, don't get me involved in this shit. Let Tottie Fields run the show here, because I don't want any fucking part of this guy.
Yeah, I think it's because I wonder if he was a young Spanish guy, a young black guy, a Polish guy. Would she have pulled that? I don't know if she would have been. I think she felt comfort in calling him out.
A kinship.
Yeah, I don't think she would have done it if she wasn't Jewish herself.
Exactly.
I imagine how that would have gone.
Well, no, like you said, it's like it's she knows that she's a famous Jewish comedian. She knows that he's a young famous Jewish. Well, at the time, not famous, but you're right. Yeah. It's that safe zone, that kinship.
But for her to come up with that, think on her own 2 feet, not have a script.
Awesome.
It shows that certain people have talent. Comedians have talent, and some of them are born with it, and it's natural. People that would entertain you. You know what I mean?
No, she's great. It
was fucking unbelievable. And it's legendary to this day. How many people, before listening to this episode, watched that clip just for that fucking punchline?
Of course. Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And see Gene's reaction. Well, anyways, after that classic line, they go into the kiss contest. Mike says, "Would you like to meet the winning couple?" And this is the funniest thing.
Dude, this is when it turns.
When he said it.
This is when it turns into like a fucking Saturday Night Live skit. Go ahead.
But when he says it, somebody in the crowd must have said something because he goes, "No."
Yeah.
No. Like, who in the 70s was doing pranks? This is like a daytime audience.
It's like somebody's heckling Mike Douglas.
Would you like to meet the nice couple?
No.
Would you like to meet the winning couple, ladies and gentlemen? No.
No, he puts his hand up like somebody said it. That is the funniest fucking thing. Anyways, so these people come out. Apparently, they were kissing for 4 days, 32 minutes, and 3 seconds. The guy's name was Vincent Toro, although he pronounces him as Vinnie Tord, and her name was Louise Heath. The couple comes out. Let me just say this. That guy, he looks like, and you would know who I'm talking about. I'm like, who does he fucking look like? You don't know him, but he's a wrestler in the WWE. He looks like the guy Tommaso Ciampa. And also, in addition to that, he looks like a very young Sid Haig. Whatever his name is, Captain Spaulding.
Rest in peace. He just recently passed away. Yep.
He looks like a fucking weirdo.
He also looks like a disheveled Jim Henson.
Somebody spiked Jim Henson's drink with acid, and he's fucked up.
Now the girl, the woman's cute as hell for the time. I mean, like mid-70s. She had like the Joyce DeWitt hairdo. Like she was looking good.
Yeah, she was looking good, son.
Looking good. Yeah, and she had the knee-high socks. I knew that got you going. Oh yeah.
Yep.
But I found it funny. He brings her out. No. So this is the other thing. So they come out. These people were making out for 4 days. Apparently in the contest, some radio contest, I think it was WHE, whatever, had this contest. They could take 5-minute breaks every half an hour, every hour.
Every hour. Imagine that.
Yeah. 5-minute breaks. But their lips always, notwithstanding that, had to touch, whether they fell asleep or not.
Yep.
These people were doing this for 5 basically days. No,
How?
4 days.
How?
I just, like, what do you do if someone's going to take a shit?
Kiss him.
Seriously. Make out with me, and who's watching while that guy's taking a shit?
Maybe they give an exception. Maybe they give an exception to bathroom breaks.
Oh.
I don't know, man. Honey, hold on a second. I just had a fucking tamale. I need you to come in here.
Like, they would have to watch their regimen, right? What they eat. He's not going to think about it. He can't be like, what are you going to have? I'm going to have a salad and a piece of bread. What are you going to have? I'm going to have the fucking pasta bolognese.
I'm gonna have the fucking Salisbury steak frozen Swanson dinner with the brownie in it.
Pasta bolognese with a fucking tiramisu cup, fucking some banana pudding afterwards.
Oh God!
Could you imagine?
There's no way.
Hold on, honey. While they're making out, hold on, honey. My stomach's acting up. Somebody just get me a bowl and have him shit in a bucket. Come on. What the fuck is that?
And the other question is, what made them stop? If you made it for almost 5 days, what was like, oh, fuck it, forget it?
I think the runner-up, wouldn't it be like, oh, the runner-up stopped. Then now we can stop, right?
Okay. All right, maybe that was it.
Keep going for a record or something. I don't know.
Well, let's get into the fucking prize.
Dropping fucking bombs in the middle of them making out. So I guess if they won, they would go on to the May 25th fucking back then, the World Kissing Contest, where they're going to get some trip or something like that.
Yeah.
They never even saw Kiss perform before.
This is when I was like embarrassed for Gene. They were like, "Oh yeah, the prize was supposed to be a concert in Toronto, but it got canceled."
You fucking Gene's like a fucking bad promoter. Like, we'll get you tickets to the next gig.
No, worse than that. The prize is a fucking cruise to Acapulco. Yep. What is that?
So we're very much in love, he says. We've been together for 6 months. I try to find out what the story was on these people, and there are all sorts of message boards of people like they died or this guy they never got together, and then all these funny tangents. Oh, he banged her and then left her, or oh, I heard that he became a fucking like a sex fiend or something like that, or he kidnapped some young girl. He went to jail. He did some bad things.
Oh, he definitely did some. He definitely looks like he's got a panel van. He looks like he's got a fucking white panel van that slows down when kids are on the sidewalk.
Well, they were in love for 6 months.
But that's one of the funniest parts. You talk about picking up little things during this. So when Mike Douglas is like, "Oh, how long have you been together?" "Oh, yeah, we're very much in love. We've been together for 6 months." Then you listen. There's like that, like an awkward silence, and Mike Douglas goes, "Oh, that's great. That's marvelous." And then it's just like, what the fuck what do I do now with these people? Like it was the most awkward setup for conversation. It looked like
SNL skit.
Hello, I'm Margaret Jo McCullen.
And I'm Terry Rialto.
And you're listening to
The Delicious Dish on National Public Radio.
Now, Terry, the days are getting longer and the mercury is rising.
It sure is, Margaret Jo. And that can only mean one thing. Summer.
Now, one of my favorite things about summer is that you can have your meals outside.
That is neat.
Yeah, it's fun. Because it's warm. It's warm outside.
Yeah. Summer's my favorite season.
Same here, because it's hotter than the rest of the year.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? It's fun.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's good times.
Yeah, it's fun.
Exactly. It looked like Kramer did a better job on his Merv Griffin set. I mean, I felt bad for Mike Douglas. I did, because it was just like, I got fucking this guy with his face painted. These two fucking hippies who've known each other for 6 months who just won a kissing contest. What am I doing on my own show right now?
Yep. And the funny thing is, I forgot to mention, when they come out, these two have been making out for 4 fucking days straight.
Yeah.
Gene doesn't know to fucking move aside.
Oh, so I know. That was awkward. They can't
keep apart.
Yep.
But all it takes is the demons for 2 seconds to break them up. He sits in the middle, so they're like, okay. They're trying to like hint, like move over something. He just sits in the middle and plops himself down. So they're like, okay, I guess I sit there and you sit over there.
Yeah, the whole thing was just awkward. It really was.
And then like, okay, have you ever heard this band? They're like, no. But apparently, before that, they did. I heard the rumor was that they did win the prize like of $1,000, and they donated it to a friend whose house burned down.
It's
man?
Chriselle.
Are you the burn man?
Yes.
Wow. And then when the other people heard about that, they gave him the trip and other stuff too. When the contest people heard about that, they gave it away. Yep. So I guess they had a happy ending for a little bit.
There you go.
After the guy says, Mike Douglas says they're coming back after a break. If you notice when they go to break, Gene does like voodoo hands. You know that thing that Paul and do like, ooh, like with their fingers and stuff? Yep. He does that to the camera. And now we're finally at the part where they go into the one song that they perform. And they perform Firehouse. Anything you want to say about the performance, Tom?
I love seeing old, early, raw, up-and-coming Kiss. I mean, everybody loves, the Love Gun, the Destroyer.
Yeah.
But seeing a band that's like just like a garage band, it was awesome. They sounded cool. They looked cool. I like those early half-ass costumes that they had. We talk about how the Destroyer costumes are so awesome. These guys, they just look badass.
Yeah. The first thing I have here, Tom, as well, raw.
Yep.
Ace is bopping around. Peter, in the beginning, if you notice the song in the background, he kind of vanishes a little in the middle. She'll adore you, space, and he's hitting the drums and his hands back up in the air. He's all animated in the back if you watch. So Peter's all animated. Paul looks confident. You can tell he wouldn't have been confident if he got put there to interview, but on the stage, he looks confident. And then G-Man's got the demon look, hamming it up, doing like the frog leg dance that he does. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like bobbing his legs like a frog. Peter, I think, looks super fucking cool, although you can't really see his makeup. It almost looks as bad as the makeup from the debut album look.
Yeah, you can't really tell. You can't really tell exactly what it is because poor Peter, they never zoom in on him during the performance, but he just looks badass. They all do.
Yeah, I love the harmonies.
Oh yeah.
But the video flashing was gonna give me a fucking seizure after a bit.
Dude, the jump cuts or the editing of that, I don't know. I mean, I know it was early 70s. They were probably trying to be cutting edge. Right now in 2020, it's horrible. It's tough to watch. You get a headache.
Yeah, I'm fucking having a seizure. Like the stuff you see when you play video games.
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to put that up before you see this video. And then the smoke comes out when the siren part gets out. The sirens, the red lights go on. Gene gets basically blanketed by the smoke. You don't even see him.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what happens at the end then?
Gene comes out and the sirens are roaring and everything, and Gene comes out and does his fire breathing thing. It just looks fucking great. It just and that crowd must have been like, what the hell is going on here?
Is this a circus act? What the fuck was that?
Exactly. Yep, it was awesome.
I think that performance is fucking legendary.
I agree. Absolutely.
I love it. Great version. You can tell on the harmonies. You can tell Paul and Gene going back and forth. The performance looks great. Peter looks badass back there. Ace is in rare form. It's just so kick ass.
Yep.
Fucking love it. So,
and it's funny when you
might go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny. You think of Kiss's career and you look at how quickly their career moved. This was 1974. Just 5 years later, they were dressed up as Super Kiss for the Dynasty Tour. Like, you just think of how quickly everything just evolved for them. They went from this just raw street band, and they look like that in this. And like you said, it's just an iconic performance.
For the first time seeing them on TV talking and things like that, you must be like, what the fuck did I just witness?
Yep. Seriously. And it's more brilliance from Bill Aucoin.
Yep.
It's Bill Aucoin's brilliance in marketing and TV background. Be like, get these guys on this show. It's a daytime show, because when they did the Dick Clark thing, that was just a live performance, and that was a nighttime show. Yeah. So this was like their first daytime exposure to families, like moms or kids.
It's a daytime show. It's not a rock and roll program. You're right. Absolutely right, Tom. So what we're gonna do now is we did another previous episode where we talked about Kiss's TV performance, and that was the episode that we did the Paul Lynde Halloween special. And because we love lists and we know our listeners love lists, we're going to try to rank these. And so the Paul Lynde show, which we previously discussed, was a little bit later on in Kiss's career. And Tom, I want to hear your thoughts first about the differences in what you prefer, and then at the end, basically say, which do you rank higher for you? And not just performance, rank the overall show and everything. If you're going to say, hey, I can only watch one thing, I like this better than this. And it doesn't just have to be the songs, but just overall, what do you like better?
Yeah, so on the Paul Lynde show, Kiss looks amazing. The Destroyer costumes, that stage setup, those flaming chandeliers when they bring the piano out for Peter, it looks awesome. However, all those performances are lip synced, as opposed to the performance on the Mike Douglas show. They're playing, they're singing, and they just look hungry and raw and kick ass and young. And that combined with the silliness of the Gene interview,
silly.
The Paul Lynde thing stands on its own. It's got its own kind of cheesy kind of comedy, but I like that Mike Douglas segment, the interview, and I just like that live, raw performance of Firehouse.
So for you, it's number one would be the Mike Douglas show. Number two would be Paul Lynde Halloween.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So for me, it's very close. But one of the things that won me over is what you said. Paul Lynde's show, I don't think ages as well. I think the jokes are cornier. I didn't realize how bad. Him fucking popping out of a cornhole. Singing
Yikes.
what?
Kids!
Just an opportunity for you to throw that out there too, right?
Yep.
It's just the fucking, what do you call it? Trucker? The bedazzled trucker?
The rhinestone trucker?
Yeah. Pinky Tuscadero making out with Mrs. Brady.
Oh, yeah. I wish they showed that.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. I think a lot of the jokes now, I think it's really campy. However, you are right. The visuals are fucking iconic about them doing King of the Nighttime World, the set, the Peter now, which is still prevalent because you look at the end of the road, the piano and stuff, but it is lip sync.
Yeah.
And, we don't need the fucking comments about Paul now either from all the fucking peanut gallery. But the version of Firehouse is raw and out of this world. Plus the Mike Douglas section of it, the interview, is still hilarious. Yep. It still holds up. It's not like they were talking about, what do you believe about the smog in L.A. in 1974? It was topical. It was about the band, and it was real quick, and it was still funny. Versus the fucking awful, one-liners Paul Lynde did, and, it's just whatever. But I love them both, but you're right. The performance, which is live, got me to say I believe that the Mike Douglas show ranks higher than the Paul Lynde show for me as well.
Awesome.
So,
agreed.
That's where we're at on those.
Nice.
Great section. Tom, what we usually do after this is we usually go to questions. Do you have something?
Yes. We'll stick with the Peter topic here. So we got a question from Jeff Mangold on Facebook. And he says, as I'm listening to the Rock and Roll Over album, it reminds me of something I've wondered about for a while now. Peter Criss has said in his book, yes, and it's also in Behind the Mask, that the version of Baby Driver that KISS recorded in studio for the album pissed him off. Does anyone know of a different version of that song? Personally, I like the way it is, but would be interested to hear what Peter had in mind when he wrote it. So I did a little bit of research. I don't think there's ever been another recorded version of it, but that was a song that was based off of a Stan Penridge, Peter Criss song from their previous band Lips. And in Peter's book, he calls Paul and Gene the fucking Gestapo because they kind of butchered the song. And then in Behind the Mask, he says the band didn't play it the way it was written. That's what pissed me off about it. He said the riff was done with voices, not guitars. That's not what I wanted. He said that my version had much more soul to it. They made me cut it out and sing it more straight, and that bothered me. I have a soul voice. That's my root. The original demo of Baby Driver is better than our recording. The band rearranged it. So there is no other recording, but you are right, Jeff. Peter was not happy about what they did to Baby Driver. He wanted to keep it the way that he had originally had written it with Stan Penridge. I love the version on Rock and Roll Over. But of course, Peter gets pissed off about a lot of things. Zeus, thoughts on that and the song Baby Driver in general?
No,
I know we love it, but
I love the versions that came out on KISS albums. I know Peter bitches about them, but I've heard the demo stuff. Yeah, I don't know, Peter. I would probably stick with the KISS version, but we all know Peter likes to bitch about shit. So,
oh yeah. But thank you for the question, Jeff. Good stuff. So yeah, I don't, as far as I know, there isn't a recorded version. If there is somewhere out there, maybe somebody can share that. But Peter wanted it to be a little bit more kind of soulful and not as straight ahead rocker. But that's his argument. But yeah, you're right. It's in his book, and it's also in Behind the Mask. If you check that.
Yeah, but I mean, you can find the Baby Driver ones of the band Louis Lips that he was in.
From the Pittsburgh Steelers 1990 roster.
Yeah, Louis Rocco.
Louis Rocco.
Yeah.
Which dentist is this?
This man named Mr. Rocco on Bronx. Mr. Rocco, Louis Rocco.
Louis Rocco?
Yeah, but you can find that version. But what you're saying is the KISS version of the different form of Baby Driver?
Yeah. Yep.
So we appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. Tom, where can people find us?
So we're on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Reach out to us, communicate with us, send us ideas, thoughts, whatever. Our email, we always respond. Either we read them on the air or we'll respond or we'll do both. And that's shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. We're part of the wonderful Pantheon podcast family. Tons of other rock and rap and metal podcasts, interviews, everything. We're on there, and you can find us everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher reportedly was just purchased by Sirius XM. So I don't know what that's going to mean for anybody who listens to Stitcher. And we also put up the audio on YouTube. We're pretty much everywhere. If there's a particular platform that you listen to that you can't find us, let us know and we'll figure it out. But we're out there everywhere. And also check out our buddy Ed, Click Tea Shop. He sells amazing Kiss inspired gear as well as awesome Shout It Out Loudcast gear. And follow Ed on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram because he always posts some cool things about his products, maybe some teasers about upcoming designs. So check out Ed and check out his stuff.
Yeah, and then, all the methods of contacting us, please use. That means direct message either on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and then obviously our email, like at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. One of our favorites actually wrote to us just before we started today, Tom, and we got a message from, and this is kind of generic, but Doug Middleton loves your Pandemic Paul stuff. So he wrote, Pandemic Paul can kiss my entire ass, and that would take all fucking day. Make sure to lick the crack, you pompous fuckturd. Now, we don't condone that language toward the Star Child, but, thank you for sending it in. And, we obviously already said what we had to say about Pandemic Paul, and hopefully he comes back to the Star Child soon enough. But keep the emails coming. Keep the messages coming. And more importantly, keep those 5-star child reviews coming. We love them. We get them on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Please give us a 5-star rating on podchaser.com. We have a couple people that use that a lot. We appreciate it that you do. We thank you for being loyal listeners and appreciate all that you do, especially when you give us those 5-star reviews, which helps us move up in the categories and gives us more people an opportunity to listen to us. So it's greatly appreciated, and we thank you for that. Before we get into famous last words, Tom, I just want to give a quick shout out. We forgot to say something. Last month in June, that was our best month ever. There's, we obviously see downloads, we see listens and all that stuff. We had a goal at one point that we had set, and we said, if we get to this, then, oh my God, yeah, how do we get to that? And then I remember talking with the Pantheon people, remember? And they said, well, I think you guys will soon get to that. We're like, we're not getting to that anytime soon. We hit it last month. And we've been consistently hitting that in a 30-day tracker as well, which only goes to show what it means to kind of have this community that we have. You guys, the fact that you interact with us, the fact that we interact with you, the fact that we all can find a little bit of humor from our day-to-day grind by talking about KISS, laughing about stupid, immature shit. We're not the podcast right now to talk about, the political strife in this world, the grievances, the death, the illness, the tour, the cancellation of tour. Like, we're trying to have some fun. If we can give you guys some fun and entertainment during this time, we appreciate it. And apparently this is something that you guys like. So we want to continue to say thank you to you. We'll do our best to grow the program, but to keep it the same. We don't want to all of a sudden think we're something different than we are. We know we're the same two people that you listened to from the beginning. We don't plan on changing that. But we do plan on trying to add a couple new things. We have a real exciting next few episodes coming up after this, but we think this one we were really excited about too. But we got some great stuff coming up. I just had to share that, Tom. If you want to share some other stuff too, please, floor is yours.
No, I was just going to say Zeus is right. We don't often do teasers during the episode, but we do have a couple of pretty interesting and unique things lined up that we're excited about, and we hope that you guys are too. And before we move to famous last words, I want to give a special shout out to one of our listeners and fans, and I follow him personally on Twitter and Facebook. Huge fan of the show, huge fan of Kiss and rock, metal, etc. And that is our good friend Steve V. He sent us an email saying that he loves the show in general and the episode about Spirit of 76. And he's also been sending us some cool things about Kiss via email. So we want to thank Steve for that. Big fan of the show, great guy. Follow him if you haven't on his Twitter and his Facebook. You know, he shares some really cool stuff, and he's a big horror fan too. So Steve, we're soul brothers when it comes to that. So thank you again. So I just want to give that shout out.
Awesome. Famous last words?
She's so easy to please, and it doesn't take money. No. We can have a good time when the skies aren't sunny. Settle down. That's the guy who says, end of story.
All right. She's like bad weather, but it seems so good. You'd never leave her, but you know you should. Oh, well, Tom, thank you very much. Kiss Army, thank you very much.
Kiss Army, thank you guys so much. Zeus, thank you. We hope you guys had a lot of fun with this. We can take anything like this and make it fun. We had a blast. We hope you guys did too. So stay safe. Continue to try to enjoy the summer and be good.
Peace out, Girl Scout. Woo!